I've wanted to tell you about, I wanted to update you for a really long time because over a decade ago, I told you, I made this video and I was like, I just quit my job. I'm going to go on to my business that's making no money and it's going to be worth $1 billion in a few years. Well, fast forward a few years, I'm definitely not a billionaire. We're still, in the ring of it. And I just wanted to make this because I feel like people don't talk enough about wanting something so much in life, having a plan so set and not being able to accomplish it. And I think it's important to be able to share these stories because, not all of us makes it. I think there's just outstanding lessons to always be learned in everything that you do. And I just think that maybe someone else can just like learn from all the mistakes, all the mindsets that I had trouble with, and apply it to themselves and actually hit their goals from it. And I also want to talk about what it feels like to get to that place because for me, the longest time I thought that failing meant burning out. It meant totally quitting. It meant not knowing how to pay my bills, But failure to me happened, a year ago, and it wasn't any of that. It was this feeling of like stagnation. It was the feeling that we had some success, but it was nowhere near the expectations I set for myself and for the people around me, and that felt really bad. And I think really drilling into that is people don't really realize that and they don't really acknowledge it. And I think it's so important to do that because if you see like what failure really looks like, then you can like start to correct it. And for me, I had to figure it out while it was all going on instead of like having to have planned for it before, where you can't really plan for everything, guys. You can't like say like I'm going to do something, I'm going to take a risk at something and try and build something big and always expect it to work out and not having to like pivot. But this isn't about any of that. It's about like this feeling of like building a community that where we can come together and share these stories and share like what we really learned from it. A few years ago, I told you like we weren't making any money. We ended up actually making some money. Now, like even fast forward now, like we have a company. It's paying about like 9 people, but we're all like still poor. We're really poor, and that's not a good feeling to be at. When you like went out to like go like change the world and build something big, and it's like you're like years in and you're all still poor. And I'm not saying being poor is a bad thing, by the way. Everyone wants different things in life, and I didn't want to be poor. Like I felt like I came from like a very like scarcity mindset background. I don't know how many of you guys felt that way too. And I just didn't never want to be that. That's why I always wanted to go take risks and go like, do big things. And it's not always worked out for me. I'm not an overly confident person. And maybe I appear to you because it's the camera, but for me it's like I don't project overconfidence, but I realized that like deep in the inside I had like overconfidence issues that probably I should have checked earlier to be able to like understand, okay, like are my plans really working out? Am I really doing the right thing? Oh, excuse me, sorry, I'm just getting over from being sick. Am I saying the right plan for myself? Or is there a way that I can like expedite this and learn more from the people around me so that I'm not, making some mistakes that's going to cost me like years of my life? And that's like really what I hope to share with you is that I think that anyone chasing their big dreams can really learn to shave off years of their life by just not being overly confident, but also being overly confident enough to like chase what they need to do. And I can't tell you what that line is, to be honest, but I think there is a line to like really understand what there is to learn and where there is to go. What have you really chased in your life that you felt like didn't quite work out? And what was a positive thing that came out of it? Because for me, it's like, I don't regret any of the past, decades spent on this journey. I might have regret how fast I could have learned these lessons. This little guy's not going to let me make this video without him being like cuddled up here. So I'm sorry. And as I was saying, I think there are lots of lessons to be learned from people who really tried everything they could at building what they want and weren't quite able to do it. I think that where we ended up, a lot of the failure was stagnation, not quite like burnout, which is a crazy thing to learn. And I think overconfidence and figuring out your line of confidence in your plan to be able to chase it, but as well as learn that you're not going to know everything at it, is a huge line for you to like figure out to shave parts of your life and like to really vet out your plan. For me, it's like I'm a very narrow person too, and I didn't really realize that. I used to think I was like so strategic, I'm thinking through things, but for me, I was always looking at like maybe 2 steps ahead. And I didn't really like understand a 10-step plan because I think things change a lot, so why make a plan? Well, in a way, I think making a really good plan and like testing it against stuff is really important. And these are just a few of the lessons that I've learned. And I'm really curious about what you think is important in your lives and really what's going on with you. And that's my update. I can give you guys a more like deeper update if it's interesting at all, but that's just like the feelings that I wanted to get into to really start hearing what you want to say.